The music of ancient Rome was a part of Roman culture from earliest times. Music was customary at funerals, and the tibia, a woodwind instrument, was played at sacrifices to ward off ill influences. Song was an integral part of almost every social occasion. The circular ode of Horace, for instance, was commissioned by Augustus and performed by a mixed children's choir at the secular games in 17 BC. Under the influence of ancient Greek theory, music was thought to reflect the orderliness of the cosmos, and was associated particularly with mathematics and knowledge. Etruscan music had an early influence on that of the Romans. During the imperial period, Romans carried their music to the provinces, while traditions of Asia Minor, North Africa and Gaul became a part of Roman culture. Music accompanied spectacles and events in the arena, and was part of the performing arts form called pantomimus, an early form of story ballet that combined expressive dancing, instrumental music and a sung libretto. Musical notation. The Romans may have borrowed the Greek method of enchiriadic notation to record their music, if they used any notation at all. 4 letters indicated a series of 4 succeeding tones. Rhythm signs, written above the letters, indicated the duration of each note. The Romans may have tuned their instruments to Greek modes. Instruments. Roman art depicts various woodwinds, brass, percussion and stringed instruments. Roman-style instruments are found in parts of the empire where they did not originate, and indicate that music was among the aspects of Roman culture that spread throughout the provinces. Wind instruments. The Roman tuba was a long, straight bronze trumpet with a detachable, conical mouthpiece like that of the modern French horn. Extant examples are about 1.3 meters long, and have a cylindrical bore from the mouthpiece to the point where the bell flares abruptly, similar to the modern straight trumpet seen in presentations of period music. Since there were no valves, the tuba was capable only of a single overtone series that would probably sound familiar to the modern ear, given the limitations of musical acoustics for instruments of this construction. In the military, it was used for bugle calls. The tuba is also depicted in art such as mosaics accompanying games and spectacle events. The cornu was a long tubular metal wind instrument that curved around the musician's body, shaped rather like an uppercase G. It had a conical bore and a conical mouthpiece. It may be hard to distinguish from the buccina. The cornu was used for military signals and on parade. The cornicen was a military signal officer who translated orders into calls. Like the tuba, the cornu also appears as accompaniment for public events and spectacle entertainments. The tibia, usually double, had 2 double red pipes, not joined but generally played with a mouth band capistrum to hold both pipes steadily between the player's lips. Modern changes indicate that they produced a low, clarinet-like sound. There is some confusion about the exact nature of the instrument. Alternate descriptions indicate each pipe having a single reed instead of a double reed. The ascalis, a bagpipe. Versions of the modern flute and panpipes. Cornu at the Limes Museum in Aalen, Germany. Cornicenes on Trajan's column. Horn player on the Ludovici sarcophagus. Tibia player accompanying a sacrifice led by Marcus Aurelius. Panpipes played by Pan and Aulus by a Maenad. String instruments. The lyre, borrowed from the Greeks, was not a harp but instead had a sounding body of wood or a tortoise shell covered with skin, and arms of animal horn or wood, with strings stretched from a crossbar to the sounding body. The lyre was held or cradled in one arm and hand and plucked with the other hand. The Romans gradually abandoned this instrument in favor of the more sophisticated cithara, a larger instrument with a box-type frame with strings stretched from the crossbar at the top to the sounding box at the bottom. It was held upright, and played with a plectrum. The strings were tuned by adjusting sticks seen in the engraving. The cithara was the premier musical instrument of ancient Rome and was played both in popular and elevated forms of music. Larger and heavier than a lyre. The cithara was a loud, sweet and piercing instrument with precision tuning ability. It was said some players could make it cry. From cithara comes the word guitar, though the guitar more directly evolved from the lute. Like many other instruments, it came originally from Greece, and Greek images portray the most elaborately constructed citharas. The lute was known by several names among the Greeks and Romans. In construction, the lute differs from the lyre in having fewer strings stretched over a solid neck or fretboard, on which the strings can be stopped to produce graduated notes. Each lute string is thereby capable of producing a greater range of notes than a lyre string. Although long-necked lutes are depicted in art from Mesopotamia as early as 2340–2198 BC, and also occur in Egyptian iconography, the lute in the Greco-Roman world was far less common than the lyre and cithara. The lute of the medieval West is thought to owe more to the Arab oud, from which its name derives. Organs. Mosaics depict instruments that look like a cross between the bagpipe and the organ. The pipes were sized so as to produce many of the modes known from the Greeks. It is unclear whether they were blown by the lungs or by some mechanical bellows. The hydraulic pipe organ, which worked by water pressure, was one of the most significant technical and musical achievements of antiquity. Essentially, the air to the pipes that produce the sound comes from a mechanism of a wind chest connected by a pipe to a dome. Air is pumped in to compress water, and the water rises in the dome, compressing the air and causing a steady supply to reach the pipes. The instrument goes back to the ancient Greeks, and a well-preserved model in pottery was found at Carthage in 1885. The hydraulis accompanied gladiator contests and events in the arena, as well as stage performances. It might also be found in homes, and was among the instruments that the Emperor Nero played. Percussion variations of a hinged wooden or metal device, a clapper, used to beat time. Also, there were various rattles, bells and tambourines. Drum and percussion instruments like timpani and castanets, the Egyptian sistrum, and brazen pans, served various musical and other purposes in ancient Rome, including backgrounds for rhythmic dance, celebratory rites like those of the Bacchantes, military uses, hunting, and even for the control of bees in apiaries. Some Roman music was distinguished for its having a steady beat, no doubt through the use of drums and the percussive effects of clapping and stamping. Egyptian musicians often kept time by snapping the fingers. The sistrum was a rattle consisting of rings strung across the crossbars of a metal frame, which was often used for ritual purposes. Cymbalae were small cymbals, metal discs with concave centers and turned rims, used in pairs which were clashed together. Music in society. In spite of the purported lack of musical originality on the part of the Romans, they did enjoy music greatly and used it for many activities. Music was also used in religious ceremonies. The Romans cultivated music as a sign of education. Music contests were quite common and attracted a wide range of competition, including Nero himself, who performed widely as an amateur and once traveled to Greece to compete. Discography. Sinalia, Music of Ancient Rome, Volume I. Wind Instruments, Amiata Records ARNR 1396, Florence, 1996. Sinalia, Music of Ancient Rome, Volume 2. String Instruments, Amiata Records, ARNR 0302, Rome, 2002. Thalia, Carmina Cana, Music of Ancient Rome, Volume I. Tarragona, Spain, 2012. Ludi Scanasai, E Tempore Emergo, Rome, Italy, 2001. Ludi Scanasai, Festina Lenta, Rome, Italy, 2011.